Welcome to Rockstar Tech Tips. My name's Nathan Smith, and I'm the Digital Literacy Specialist for the Central Arkansas Library System. This show is all about giving you the tricks, tools, and shortcuts that technology professionals use to make their lives easier. You don't just have to muddle through with your tech, you too can be a technology rockstar. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important topics in technology nowadays, passwords. Because we live so much of our lives online, having secure passwords is absolutely crucial. Experts recommend that, for the most part, you use a password manager to generate and keep up with your passwords. A password manager actually creates secure passwords, keeps up with them so you don't have to remember them, and even fills them in most circumstances so you don't have to manually type them at all. That's wonderful. It's very convenient, and I'm going to do a video on password managers in the future. But unfortunately, there are some passwords that we do have to remember and type in ourselves, so we're going to talk about those today. But what is a secure password actually? A secure password is a password designed to keep bad actors out of your stuff. The best passwords are long, they're not easy to guess, and they contain a variety of characters. Let's talk about each of those factors in turn. Length is one of the most important factors in creating a secure password. A lot of times when folks are trying to crack a password, they'll use what's called a brute force attack. Basically, they set their computer up to just try sequences of letters and numbers over and over until they get the right password. That might sound inefficient, but considering how fast modern computers are, it's actually not that difficult to crack a password this way. Let me show you an example. This simple and extremely insecure password only has 7 characters. A character is a letter, a number, or a symbol. This password might take a modern computer less than a millisecond to crack just by trying every possible combination. If we add an additional character, though, that means it might take a little longer, perhaps up to around 5 hours. Add one more, and it goes up to 5 days. 10 characters could get us up to 4 months. 11 might take up to a decade. And a 12-character password might take as long as 2 centuries. So you can see that sheer length makes a big difference in terms of how secure your passwords are. But security experts recommend that your passwords be about 16 characters, which might seem like overkill based on what I just showed you. So why the difference? For one thing, the numbers I gave you are just estimates. It's quite possible that a computer could get lucky and crack your 12-character password in 30 seconds flat. It's not necessarily going to take 2 centuries. But the longer your password is, the less likely it is that the computer will get lucky and crack your password quickly. For another thing, hackers don't just use brute force attacks to try and get into your stuff. They also use a variety of other tactics to increase the possibility of guessing your password correctly. One of those is just doing a little research. One of the tricks a clever hacker uses in trying to crack your password is to find out a little bit more about you. See, a lot of folks use basic information when they're creating their passwords so that it makes them easier to remember. For example, a lot of people use family names, family birth dates, wedding anniversaries, addresses, or even the names of pets in their passwords. And while those are memorable, that information is also pretty easily available to the hacker in most cases, either through public records or through social media posts, either yours or the posts of your friends or family. So you want to avoid using these kinds of basic information when you're creating your password, so that way you're not vulnerable to this sort of attack. The other thing we want to consider when creating a password is to use a variety of characters. If you only use lowercase letters in your password, a hacker's computer doesn't have very many possibilities to choose from in trying to guess your password. But if you add uppercase letters, the possibilities are doubled. Then you add numbers, and then you can add symbols. As you can see, you could make an almost unlimited number of passwords from this, which makes it a lot harder to guess what your password might be. That range of possibilities can make it hard to decide on a particular password. And once you do decide on a password, how do you remember it? My memory isn't the greatest, but we all know a lot of songs, right? So my advice is simple. Let's take a song lyric and let's convert it into a password. That way we can remember it very easily, but it doesn't skimp on length or complexity. Let's see an example. A lot of us probably know this song lyric. It's hardly my favorite song, but the line mentions a number, which will make it easy to convert into a password. I recommend you don't use your favorite song. If you're famous for adoring Love Potion number 9 or something else, it'll be all too easy for someone to guess that. By the way, I'm not about to show you a password I actually use. The first step towards making this into a reasonable password is actually to cut it short a little. If I'm including spaces, this is 27 characters, which is a lot to type. Now it's down to 20, which is still a very good length, but less frustrating to type out. I'll change the word 1 into the numeral 1. Technically, it's preferable to use a phrase that doesn't start with the number, but this is just an example. Then, I'll choose a random word to capitalize, not the first word, and not one that would normally be capitalized, something a little unpredictable. Finally, I'll replace the spaces with a symbol. I now have an 18-character password that uses every different type of character: uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. If I want, I could replace other characters to use fewer dictionary words. For example, replacing the I here with a 1, or replacing the E in the with a 3. But this is a pretty good password, and unless my accounts contain state secrets or the script for the next Marvel movie, it will probably be plenty secure. And since I know the song, I'll actually be able to remember this password once I've used it a few times. No security measure is perfect, so I can't guarantee this will keep your accounts secure for life. But if you've been using a short password made up of your dog's name and your date of birth, this will be a massive security upgrade for you. Before we wrap up, let me show you a few other general security tips. Avoid reusing passwords. This is a big one. If you use the same password for your Facebook account and your online banking, then if someone cracks your Facebook account, they have access to your financial information as well. In particular, never ever reuse your email password. That's very dangerous. Don't give or email your password to anyone. Even if someone claims to be affiliated with your bank or with the government, they don't need your password, and it's not safe to give it to them. Use two-factor authentication, also known as two-step verification, when possible. This is a powerful additional piece of security you can add on top of your password. However, to use it, you'll usually need a smartphone, or at least a phone capable of texting, that you carry with you the majority of the time. I'm planning a whole video about two-factor authentication in the future. Just like securing your home, securing your online information is mostly about taking basic safety precautions and keeping your wits about you. We'll talk about a lot of those safety precautions in future videos. For now though, please click subscribe down below to see the awesome stuff we've got going on the Cal's YouTube channel. I'll see you next week, and rock on!